So I've been using the 2020 iMac for just over a week. And in that time, and kind of trying to come to a conclusion about this computer, it basically has come down to this is the best all-in-one for people looking to buy a computer today. Fortunately, it is not as simple as that. So let's jump into why. Why are we here? Why are you here? Why are we here finding out if this Mac is still worth buying? So this is where you should start with your why. Is your why that you're wanting to improve your workflow? Is it you're wanting to improve the ability of your work or your hobbies? Then I would say yes. If your why is that you're looking for the best all-in-one computer on the market, then again, I would probably say yes. If you are planning to buy the Canon R5 or the newly released Sony a7S III, then again, I would probably say yes. But if you are here looking for the next big thing, I'd probably say no. Okay, so the big topic of conversation about this computer as well as its design is obviously the upcoming Apple Silicon and the now renounced Intel Silicon. Now the way I look at this at the moment, it's kind of like, so in America, I can imagine it's almost like grandma's apple pie. In the UK, it's, our grandma's Yorkshire puddings. So with this computer, we know what we're getting. It is the tried and tested Intel Mac combination. In terms of the iMac, I actually don't think there has been that many complaints about what Intel have been able to offer, but actually more in their mobile devices, in laptops, the MacBooks, the MacBook Airs. Whereas in the iMac, this thing is just incredibly powerful, and Intel have actually done, I think, a pretty good job of this chip. And why I compare it to what we already know, well, you know that this now is the best that they can produce. It is the latest Intel chips. It is built on an architecture that they have actually been making for over 7 years. So you are getting a reliable, very impressive machine. With Apple Silicon, well, from experience, Apple aren't actually the best at first gen tech. I picked up the 2012 MacBook Pro Retina display, the first one of its type. I'll be honest, I had to have that replaced 3 times because of issues with the SSD, which was new. I had an issue with the display, which was also new. And it's the same when you look at things like the iPhone 4 even. Going back, that was a redesign, there were issues. There was issues with the iPhone 6, a new design, and that bent. The iPad Pro, when that first got released, that also had issues with it. What I'm saying is, even though Apple really sometimes do push the limits of what they're able to achieve with hardware, sometimes it doesn't work. So if you are waiting on the premise that Apple are going to come out with the world's greatest chip, well, they might. We have no idea. We have no idea how well that chip is going to perform. But what I can tell you is this Intel chip performs incredibly well. So the computer that I've been reviewing and using for the past couple of weeks is the £2,299 model. It's the same in dollars, it's just the same. And that is an 8-core i7 at 3.8 gigahertz, overclocking to 5 gigahertz. More importantly, it has the AMD Radeon 550 8 gigahertz video card, which for video and photography has been the most important thing for me. I kept it at the base 8 gig RAM, but I definitely recommend to upgrade that to 16 at least. Probably just put 32. Go up to 64, depending on your budget, and the 512 newly installed SSD. So let's start with the bad of this computer, because it's a short list and I'd rather get that out of the way to talk about everything that is brilliant about this computer. And the main thing really for me just comes down to the bezels. I actually like the overall design, but the bezels, when you open this and it's in the light mode, you do kind of feel that you are sensing the age of the design. Overall, I still like the chin at the bottom. I like the aluminium. I do like the feel of this computer, but the bezels are just that little bit dated. The way I kind of got around it was just putting it in dark mode. You don't really notice the bezels as much when you're kind of dealing with it a little bit darker, and it kind of blends in a little bit better. Looking as well, if you're wanting to take nice photographs of your computer equipment, you can just put this wallpaper on as well, and I think that kind of works out quite nicely. The only other things that I would say that are slightly irritating about this computer, and just the little bit that is nagging, is the base SSD storage of 256 gigs. To be honest, once you fill it up with a few applications, and if you're doing anything slightly creative, so photographs or video, you're pretty much going to be filling this up within a couple of months. So you are going to have to look at external storage, but I do wish that they had just increased that to 512. And the only other thing is, again, that base element of just 8 gig of RAM. Using this computer for just over a week and trying and looking at Activity Monitor, I would say just having a few things open pretty much cleared more than half the RAM available. It was just at a base of 4 gig of RAM, so you literally have 4 gig left to play with. So multitasking isn't brilliant, and you do have to increase the RAM. And again, I would look at 16 to 32 gig probably as a minimum. Okay, so let's talk about the good things, and this is probably why you're here, to find out why this computer is so good. Well, let's talk about that display. Now, obviously, yes, the bezels are thick, but the actual display itself is bloody brilliant. The 5K monitor, I forgot how sharp and clear it is. This has True Tone in it now as well, so when you are using it at night, if you're not doing something like video editing, probably turn it off. But just for general use, the fact that it now adapts just like your iPhone is really, really nice. So one of the biggest questions that I have to say I did get was just around the overall performance of this computer. So I shoot my videos on the Sony a7 III, so not the world's biggest camera. It's not Red, it's not a Canon Cine camera, or even the newly released Sony and Canon cameras, but the camera does still shoot in 100 megabit 4K, and they are quite large files. It's quite a big task for a computer to go through, and like many of you, it seems as though 4K video editing was one of the main topics. In terms of using this in Final Cut Pro, well, marking the iMac, Mac OS X, Final Cut with all this power, honestly, it just rinsed it. There was no playback issues. I was adding LUTs, I was adding little titles that I add and graphics, as well as the audio, and everything just ran in real time. There was no delay at all. In terms of both the import with the SD card reader has been improved, and that meant that I was getting the footage off really quickly, so I could dump the footage and then just kind of get back to shooting, which is really, really handy. This Mac also includes the T2 chip, and this helps again with video editing. Now, for me, I haven't noticed it that much because I think the video card was just completely destroying my footage. But for anyone looking at the new cameras that are recently coming out, they do have a new codec, which this T2 chip actually outperforms things like the Mac Pro, the old iMac Pro, and completely outperforms now the MacBook Pros as well. Now, in terms of photography, I use Lightroom, both classic and the standard Creative Cloud one, and this just completely destroyed them as well. Adding profiles and just adjusting layers, even kind of doing batch editing, this just absolutely, it feels like it's not having to work hard at all. It just gets on with the job. So if you are a video photographer, just anyone who works with creative elements using a camera, I would highly recommend this computer. It just makes everything so much easier. One of the other tests somebody recommended in the comments as well was to see how this ran with the fans and the heat. And actually it was a really, really good test and proved just how incredible the thermals are on this computer. My MacBook Pro, for reference, as soon as I open up things like Final Cut or Lightroom, the fans are just kicking off, which I have to wear headphones while editing to kind of drown out the noise of the fans. This Mac pretty much didn't clock over 1,200 RPM, which is its base. The ability of this computer and how quiet it is, really, you genuinely don't even have to wear headphones to edit. It is just silent, you can use speakers, it really is quite incredible. I also ran a Geekbench test and I'll put the results of that Geekbench here. Now for me, I am not the world's biggest numbers fan. It's obviously good to reference against how well it performs against other computers, but in real life, using my own footage, using photography and using video and just kind of day-to-day use, this computer is just way and above what most people probably ever need. In terms of the webcam as well, that's kind of a new addition that we have here, an actual improved above 720p camera. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to compare some footage between my Logitech C920, which was the most popular webcam in the world before the pandemic, and this, and let's compare the two. So this is testing both the internal microphone as well as the webcam. So this is the built-in 1080p webcam, and for comparison, this is the Logitech C920. And this is the Logitech, and instantly it actually seemed a bit purpley, so I would get the software to adjust the white balance, but yeah, this is the Logitech. I have absolutely no idea what that's like because I've not actually done that test yet. So that is my review of the iMac. This is a quick computer. It is a brilliant computer. Is it the redesign we were all hoping for? Well, obviously not. But as mentioned at the beginning of the video, I still recommend this as the best all-in-one computer for somebody looking for one today. This isn't the one that you're looking for if you are on the bleeding edge of technology. I would probably wait still. If you can wait, I probably would. Let's see what Apple Silicon is like. But if you're in the market for a computer, if yours is running slow, if you're looking to buy new camera equipment, if you're looking to take your music and Logic to the next level, this is probably the best computer you can buy. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed the channel, if you enjoy the work that I put into these videos, it would mean the world if you subscribe for me to continue to make these videos. For any suggestions, reviews, comments, likes, anything like that, please let me know below and I will try to get back to all of them. And that's everything. We'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.